Microsoft Excel is the most popular spreadsheet program in the world. And when we open it up in Microsoft 365, you have similar options that you have with Word and PowerPoint and other Microsoft 365 apps. And that is, you've got templates. Now we can choose one of the templates here. We could also do a search by clicking on More Templates. However, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to choose the blank workbook, and we'll take a look at some of the issues that could come up when you're supporting your users with Excel in Microsoft 365 apps. Here you see the ribbon at the top, just like you do in previous types of Microsoft 365 apps that were demonstrated. You can go ahead and show the ribbon, which is what this whole bar is at the top, or you could just show the tabs only, or go even into full screen mode. By hiding the majority of the ribbon and just showing the tabs at the top, you do give yourself more real estate. And you can go ahead and click on View and get that all back again fairly quickly. The various different tabs include the File tab, just like it does in Word and PowerPoint and other apps. And you can see different things like account information. You can print, you can save as, and you can even start a whole new workbook. The documents that you create in Excel are called workbooks rather than documents. And the workbooks are made up of sheets. So if you go to the bottom and take a look, you can see Sheet 1. And you can create multiple sheets in a single workbook. And you can even rename those sheets, such as Sales. At the top underneath these various different tabs, you can do things like insert pictures, shapes, and icons. You can also create what's called a pivot table. A pivot table is going to let you pull information in from an external data source, such as Microsoft SQL. You pull that information in and it shows it in your workbook. I've created many pivot tables over my career, and it was a simple way to see information that might be in an unusable type of format, such as Microsoft SQL. It pulls that in. I can then manipulate that data in the Excel workbook in any way I want in order to show it in a way that makes sense to the client. You can also take any of the data that I'm going to enter here shortly and turn it into a chart. And that chart gives you a graphical view of what your data represents. If we go to Draw, this is similar to Microsoft Word. You can go ahead and draw in the workbook. I haven't seen a lot of use for that, but it might help brighten up certain types of workbooks in certain cases. Then you can go to Page Layout and change the way the workbook looks. Also, it helps for printing because you may decide to print a certain area or print a certain size. One of the more difficult things that you're going to find is going to be formulas. A lot of clients are going to want to create a formula to, say, add up columns or do some sort of algebraic type of formula, and it may be beyond them, it might be beyond you, but that's okay because we have things like Copilot to help us create these formulas if needed. Let's take a look at the cells themselves, because a lot of times your clients are going to want to understand how to change these cells, how to manipulate them to make these cells work for them. For instance, I can simply type, "This is my data." And I'll press enter. And you can see it spreads from one cell to the next. And that can be frustrating. It may not be what you want. So you can right click on that original cell and choose to format it. Now, format it comes with a lot of options. I'm going to skip to alignment first. So if I choose alignment, I can choose to make it horizontal, left, right, center, things like that. But what I want to do here is I want to wrap the text. So when I wrap the text, you can see it now increases the size of the cell and makes it easier to read, especially by not bleeding into the next cell to the right. I'm going to right click and choose Format Cells again, because this is definitely an area that you're going to be wanting to support your users. We can go to Font. I'm going to change just to another font, and I'm going to change it to bold, and I'm going to make it larger. And click OK. And look at that. I've changed my data just like you can do in Word, but it looks a lot different, of course, in Excel. What if I want to delete this data? Well, all I have to do is highlight that cell or however many cells I'd like to delete and just press the delete key, and then that goes away. Users will constantly ask, What if I want this to be a number cell? What if I want it to be a date cell? What if I want it to be currency? Well, that's easy too. So I'm going to right click, choose Format Cells. And now I'm going to choose the number tab at the top and look at all these different ways I can create my cell or format it in a way that makes it work for me. So for instance, I'm going to say currency. Now currency can come with lots of different types of symbols. The default here is going to be the US because I'm using a US keyboard. Now if you're in another country, then it will default to whatever keyboard you're using there. I'm going to click OK, and I'm just going to type the number 5. Let's see what happens. Turns it into $5 because that's now currency. Let's do another one. I'm going to right click, format the cell, and this time I'm going to choose the date. And you can see multiple different ways you can format that date. Click OK, and I'll say 9-9-27. And look at that, it formatted it just the way that it showed when I went into the format cells under the date. I'm going to add in some sales data, and then I'm going to use Copilot in order to help me format it the way I'd like. After selecting Copilot, I'm given multiple different suggestions, such as to suggest a formula column. So I'll go ahead and choose that, and let's see what it does. And here you can see that it created this special formula that adds up all of these cells. So if you have users that are new to Excel and they don't know how to create a formula, they don't need to be programmers to figure it out. They can now use Copilot to help them with it. So in this case, it's going to take this formula and it's going to add up all the different columns so you can see the total sales amount. I'll copy that formula and I'll paste it in. Now, if you ever see these hashtags here, it just means that you don't have a big enough column. So we can just expand that and look at that. It went ahead and added up all the different sales together. And we can do that for all the different salespeople. Of course, we'll have to make a little bit of a change because this is doing the other row. So I'll just change it to the third row, press enter, and now it adds it up. And if you'd like to do something different with Copilot, you can choose to summarize or get a unique insight or highlight all cells with any incomplete in red. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new conversation. So I'll click on new conversation, and now it gives me back some additional suggestions, or I could just go ahead and type in what I'd like here. Now, to use another option, which is included even without Copilot, is this Analyze Data button that you see here. And I find this really useful. So I'll click on Analyze Data. It's going to find all the data, and then it's going to give me lots of options, such as inserting a chart. So I'll click to insert that chart, and that represents the data that you see there. So if even your client does not decide to purchase the Copilot option, you're still going to have some automation as well as some data analysis that you can use to create really great workbooks. Excel has many more features that can take a long time to master, but tools like Copilot can assist in making those tasks easier.